It's your girl, Queen of Coco, back in the social media streets, ready to discuss Baddies USA, the season premiere. I'm sorry I am a little late, but I will have the other review for this newest episode coming right up soon. But anyway, child, we're gonna get right into it. You guys are just going to have to bear with me because I got my little teleprompter. Not that I'll be reading off of it because I can. I'm a little too old to follow it, but at least keep me on track for the points that I really want to talk about. So, first, I want to just say thank you for joining me for the I Got Questions AI fact check. Child, what had happened was when I was watching Baddies USA with all that was going on, I pretty much was like throughout the episode, especially the beginning, I was like, I just have so many questions. There were so many different storylines, so many different. I mean, I think this is the hugest cast. Well, do we have to say allegedly? I don't know, but that's just my opinion. The hugest cast in Baddie season, child. So first, I want to get into because there's a couple of things I want to talk about. I really want to talk about this All Star founders, not really All Stars. We'll get on that later. I'm just going to say this. For me, the continuity was a bit off from one season to the next. You had the All Stars who were, from various seasons, and then many of them, like as we see in this picture, Krishan, Suki, um, in the beginning of the opening credits. Not that I have a problem with that because I am a fan of, you know, those particular individuals. I like Krishan. Well, I'm not going to say I don't have a problem. That would be keeping it real. I do have a problem in terms of. Child, my screen went black. I said, "What is happening?" Anyway, I couldn't see what's going on. I do got a problem in that I feel like they could have alternated the OGs from the previous season, or not the OGs, the All Stars, because there's so many OGs now. We don't even know, is it the new OGs, the old OGs, the same OG? I don't know. There's a lot going on in this episode. We go from the brawl between Lex and Summer, which we like to open up with a lot of mess. So that was right on point, to the All Star lineup, and then right into Natalie arriving with her baddie CEO change in her nice suit with a serious mug on her face, but she is looking fabulous. Although this is not a clout chase because in her BGC days, as you see all this chocolate all up, all on me, I was not a Natalie fan. I'm not gonna go into those previous not content, previous comments because people can grow. So now, child, I don't know if I met her, if I would like her, but people can grow. That's all I'm gonna say. But people like me, we like to definitely get in where we fit in. You feel me? Like, I ain't gonna say people like me because some of us really be trying hard, child, to fit in places that ain't even receiving you well. That's not me. That's not me. I like to get in where I fit in. Nevertheless, what really stood out, right, is, we're going to talk about Natalie. I'm saying we're talking about Natalie. We didn't already talk about Natalie. We talked about her entrance. We talked about her look. We talked about the seriousness and how she arrived and pulled up like she was in the full baddie CEO mode. Like, this is my show. One thing that I don't think that y'all, and I got to bring it up because I pay attention, child. I be listening. But one thing I don't think y'all paid attention to was her opening lyrics when she was coming on the show. And the lyrics that the girl was rapping, which I thought the song was jamming, by the way. She says, and I gotta read this, I want to make sure that I'm saying it right, but it says something like at one point it says, "Ain't no L's, only lessons. I embrace all my flaws, and when you in your winning season, everybody on the clout. So my question for you is: do you think Natalie that the show did Natalie choose that song, or do you think that that was just by happenstance? What is your take? Because I don't think it was happenstance. I think it's setting the foundation for what we get ready to see up here on this show. But nevertheless, Natalie's face card never declines. It was not declining. The suit was appropriate for what she was trying to give, which I've already said that. So I'm not going to press it too much. But if you see her up on the screen, then I'm probably talking about her just as a critique to say, this is what she was given, that she is the CEO. But, I researched. I don't know what made me do it, but I was like, who made this song? Who's the singer of the song? I really couldn't find who made the song. I don't know why I couldn't, but one thing Google did do is when I typed in those lyrics, they brought up a Christian artist by the name of Forrest Frank, and they alleged that those lyrics is from the Forrest Frank gospel song of No Else. Very similar lyrics. Now, I'm not saying that they are. I'm just telling you what the handy dandy AI said. Okay. But that being the case, when I went back and because I'm for the gospel too, I went and listened to that song. He said that he's not taking no L's and that the battle has already been won. Praise his holy name, child. The battle has already been won. So it had me questioning, well, is this is this a subliminal message? Is there a battle going on? And child, I'm gonna have to say that it made me have questions because as these next scenes that we get ready to dissect and analyze, the dynamics that were going on in the scene made me feel like that something more was going on behind the scenes. I could be wrong, and I don't want to be a person that starts mess, because that's not what it is. It's just we like to speculate, as we review the show, and they want us talking about it, don't they? You know, but child, to me, it seemed like it was some kind of lesson, you know. And I think I'm inserting the clip. If I, hopefully it's happening while I'm talking. It might happen afterwards, depending on this edited child, how Natalie's walking in. And the reason why I'm including that clip is because as we go along, we're going to discuss Tanisha and her role, because there's some parallel that was made in the editing between the two. And again, the question is why? When all this time, who we mostly been seeing is the Baddie CEO herself, Natalie. So, Natalie, she gets into this scene she arrives to meet the founders. And this was confusing to me because we had the All Stars, then it jumps to the founders. I feel like a better thing would have been to switch that around instead of jumping to the founders. She said that, I think it was she's meeting with the founders so they can decide on the new cast. What I'm trying to figure out is since when? Since when are the founders? What is prompting? Since when are the founders deciding factors on who gonna be on the cast? Now, at one point she did have a mama and some other people rolling, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but to bring all of them, something is something. Something is something, child. All of them, what is happening? How did they make it on here? Now, sorry, excuse me. What I will say is what they should have did, instead of saying that this cast, the founders, were going to be deciding who gets to get on the show, because we all know that's really not true. I don't even really think you're selling that to the audience. What it should have been is that you allowed the founders to serve as this great council, and maybe they can meet periodically to decide on who stays on the show, not who's going to be on the show. Like, where is this coming from? So anyway, when we get into the next scene, when as the founders, which is the old BGC or the oldest of the OGs, the old OGs, I would call them the old OGs if they're from uh BGC, just to be clear. The founders arrive, or the old OGs arrive, and as they're coming in, Natalie is just basically like, sit down, no hugs. At one point, she's trying to take off her shoes, which is not baddie CEO behavior. But I wonder about that. Like, what power does she really have? Because it sounds, if I feel like it's one of two things: is that she hasn't negotiated her contract as she's went along to where she is the baddie CEO, or he gave her that chain, but there's some lack in what in calling the shots. It's either that, or there's some type of undermining that's going on to where she feels like she doesn't have the upper hand. Because let me tell you, honey, what would be in my contract. Once I've risen to a certain level, and I've cultivated, and I know the work that I put in, regardless if it's acknowledged or not, you would not, and I've said this many times, you would not come up on this show threatening to harm me or put your hands on me. You would be simply off the show. But you know what? I don't know if Natalie always stands on business when she says that. Because me personally, you would leave. You got 30 people. It would be clear cut. If you come on here and you disrespect the hand that what is the saying? The hand that feeds you. And, I would hate to go as far as how Jocelyn be running it. But if you, child, no. But I'm not seeing that from Natalie. What we see Natalie is on great defense. I gotta take off my shoes. The CEO, the baddie CEO shouldn't have to take off her shoes. She had to take off her shoes. And then all she's saying to them is just no hugs right now because she can't trust it. We know plenty of people. Last reunion, I like Diamond. I'm sorry, I'm neutral. But you see that Natalie has been attacked many times, and she know that those girls do not favor her. She don't know what they on. And who pipes up first? Persuasion. Persuasion is a whole nother dynamic in itself, in that persuasion, I don't know why she was coming with all of that she was coming with, because me personally, I do not remember Persuasion from BGC. There's only one pivotal scene that I remember about Persuasion. I probably will insert it here. You awake? You don't clean up after yourself. And that is the sink scene when she was talking at her turn at that time, and she got washed up in the sink by Krishan. But far as on her own accord, she's a very beautiful girl. Her look was giving, the eyeglasses, the hair, everything was giving. She's pretty. However, far as charisma wise, energy wise, I don't remember Persuasion. Okay. But I did not understand why Persuasion was coming for Natalie like that. And then she was actually like, well, you be weird with them, not with me, because it's supposed to be cool. But later we see when op number two show up, and I'm sorry, I please don't be upset for me calling you op. We had op number one, Persuasion, op number two, Bree. Please don't be upset because you actually do not like Natalie. I'm not on Natalie's side. This is just how I see it. You don't like her. So, and you came in as an op. Bree wants to chime in and say that Natalie stole Baddie shot o'clock. Okay. Did Natalie, you know what? It's really neither here nor there, because that's what we're going to AI deep dive into, is the show's creation from the beginning for BGC all the way through Baddies, and just the questions that I had on, you know, what's a brewing in this situation, what could be brewing. But there's a dispute over that. But who does she call to co-sign Persuasion? That's weird to me. Like, if that's your homegirl and you saying that y'all cool, she shouldn't have any energy with you. How do you have one of her number one ops back in the conversation? Y'all are not that cool, so she should be able to defense with you. She definitely should be on the defensive with you. I would. Even if we're that cool and you come on here and you see all these other people here and you're the first to kind of pipe up like you are, we're not that cool. What I can say is I don't know if Persuasion saw this as an opportune moment to promote her brand, but it was not a good showing Persuasion, especially given what we've seen in the past. We know that the mouth does not normally match the hands. So it just wasn't a good showing. As far as the dispute over the baddies shot o'clock, you guys tell me what you think. This is what I'm gonna say. Natalie says she didn't make it. She says she did. She has a, I don't know if the motive is to be litigious. I'm not sure, but I guess it is, Natalie has given it so much motion and so much energy that it is kind of a popular slogan now. But if you have that motion and you have that energy, then you can just create a new slogan and stop using that one. Not that you have to, but my point is this. If Natalie were to hand over the rights to Batty Shot O'Clock to Brie, would she have the same motion to make it a thing or to keep the momentum going? That's the question. Because I feel like when I'm talking about persuasion, the comparison between persuasion, like people are coming on here, and I know you guys are off of BGC, but it's like whatever moves that you've made since then are not the same. And I'm not saying that Natalie should not be giving checks to everyone. Actually, I'm very happy that everyone's getting a check. That is fantastic. I don't know if Natalie's behind it. It's not looking like it. But if everyone's getting a check, I think that that is fantastic. I really do. However, I just feel like not giving the lady her credit for where she's brought the brand is not going to do any of these founders any good. And I'm getting up to 20 minutes, so this is probably going to be broken into 3 parts, and the questions will probably be on the last part where we really do the deep dive, which really gives you the real tea. But I have to set the foundation of what has happened on the show so that you can understand why I'm asking the questions that I'm asking. Nevertheless, again, what the point I was trying to make is even when I didn't like Natalie, Natalie was iconic in her time, whether you loved or you hated her. When she coined the phrase "she ran LA," as we see that she still does kind of run LA. She's kind of like a Dr. Will character. I didn't like Dr. Will either, but I have great respect for him. And the reason why is because Dr. Will, being the op that he was on the show, he told the audience exactly what he was going to do, who he was, and that's what he did. So I'm not sure who made what deal. What I don't know. We will get into that, like I said, in the third segment. But there's definitely something a brewing. Like I said, you have Tanisha arriving, and I'm gonna insert her arrival here. And she is arriving separately from all the women who have arrived together. All the founders who have arrived together. The only two to arrive and to make a statement is the baddie CEO, and then I guess her nemesis, or the. We're gonna get into it, child. You really need to tune into 3 because I need to break this down. But it made me feel like let's look at Natalie's arrival, Tanisha's arrival, the other founders in between. Is Tanisha now on the same level as Natalie? And when Tanisha arrived, we saw Natalie's ops, not all, greet her so warmly, so excited to see her. So, what deal has Tanisha made? Anyways, I got a lot of questions, and AI kind of broke down a few different things. So, I'm gonna get out these social media streets and get ready to record part three. And I hope that you will click because this is too long. I know you don't want to watch it this long, so I'm gonna break it up. But I hope that you will tune in for part three. Anyways, I'll holla.